How you doing, people? It's Richie. I'm here with Murray. Once again, we're going to put a wee video out, and today we're going to discuss the 12 presumptions of law. Murray, I think it's fair to say, once we're finished this video, I think the people who watch it will be quite astonished at just how these 12 presumptions of law are taken. Now, in court, these 12 presumptions of law, they need to be rebutted by the man or the woman when they get into court.
Yep.
If they're standing, if they're representing themselves or presenting themselves in court.
Yep.
So, everything in the basically the system, the court system, or the bar guild, if you want to call it that.
Legal system, Richard.
The legal system know about this. It's quite astonishing what we're going to talk about here, Murray. So,
yep.
I mean, it's based on a presumption, the 12.
Secret oaths.
Aye. So, do you want to read out what this is based on, these 12 presumptions of law? Because it's obviously a presumption it's based on it.
Yep. Yep. What we'll do, Rich, is if you want to lead, we'll go through the 12 one at a time.
Right, okay.
Starting off from the definition of presumption to give the viewers an idea of exactly where we're going with this.
No bother, I'll do that. Right, okay. So the definition of a presumption in the Oxford Dictionary, an idea that is taken to be true on the basis of a probability. As a presumption on which must be agreed by the parties to be true, then and equally. I'm going to read that again. As a presumption is a presumption in which must be agreed by the parties to be true, then and equally. If one party challenges a presumption to be true on the basis of probability, then this is all that is recognised to be required to remove the presumption is a formal challenge to that presumption. The presumption then has no standing or merit in fact, and that's a presumption. A probability, the extent to which something is probable, the likelihood of something happening or being the case. By definition then, this is not substantive, as it is only a probability of what may be, and therefore has no substance in material fact. So a statute court does not operate according to any true rule of law, but by presumption, or something we call the colours of law.
Yep.
Murray?
Yep.
Of the law. Therefore, the presumption presented by a private bar guild are not rebutted. They become a fact and are therefore said to stand true. So here we have the 12 presumptions of law.
Very important point here, Richie, just to explain to the viewers and the people how this is ridiculous. This is trickery and illusion right for the off. Because the very definition, presumption, right, is probable.
Aye.
Now, see, in law, we don't deal with probable anything. We deal with facts.
It's got to be material facts.
Therefore, they're using the trickery of presumption, and you said at the beginning there, an important part I wanted to point out as well was the fact that agreeing, the two parties agreeing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what people don't understand is, you're actually agreeing to all the presumptions when you act in your capacity as person.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where the trickery lies and starts right for the off. Because you're not aware that you're agreeing to presumptions, which are no facts in law, when you're acting in your capacity as your person. So this is why it's very important that people understand right from the beginning of this, how you're tricked into agreeance, and that's what the legal system's all about. It's all about contract and agreeing.
Yep.
So you've got people here agreeing to things and they've got no idea what's going on. So you're basically getting hoodwinked with magic.
Aye.
Right?
Definitely. So there's 12 presumptions, and the key presumptions asserted by the Private Bar Guild,
Yep.
which, if unchallenged, stand true, being 1, public record, public service, public oath, immunity, summons, custody, court of guardians, court of trustees, government as executor and beneficiary, agent and agency, incompetence and guilt. That's 12 presumptions of law. This is what they're all based on. And we'll go through each one individually, and we'll discuss each one as we go. All right?
Yep.
Now, you would never know about this, because if you get into court and you're through the legal and you've got a lawyer representing you, he understands that he knows all about these, because he's in the Bar Guild.
Yep.
Right?
That's one thing I want to touch on as well, Richie. I want to take the time out to explain to the people again what the Bar Guild actually is.
We'll do it at the end of this, I think, because see, once we read all this out,
Yep.
and then we explain that at the end of the video,
Well,
I think what will happen is it'll all just fall into place. It'll
Right.
fall into place when they see, anyway, Murray, these presumptions that
it's just that it's important, Richie, that people understand that the Bar Guild is the legal society, that these people
Oh, aye.
that are all members of the legal society swear a secret oath to the Bar Guild rules. And this is where, again, as I said just there, this is where all the trickery and illusion starts.
Yep.
With these people swearing secret oaths, but they're also swearing public oaths, but the secret oath supersedes the public oath.
Yep.
But right away there's a conflict of interest, and these people are supposed to be impartial. That's why they're supposed to be impartial, because they're acting in the role as judge.
Aye.
So they shouldn't have a conflict of interest right away either.
But what you're saying here is actually in the 12 presumptions,
Yep.
some of the stuff you're saying. So we'll
Yep.
read it out,
Yep.
and we'll see how it goes for there. So number 1, the presumption of public record is that any matter brought before a state court is a matter for the public record, when in fact it is presumed by the members of the Private Bar Guild that the matter is a Private Bar Guild business matter, unless openly rebutted and rebuked and rejected by stating clearly the matter is to be on public record. The matter remains a Private Bar Guild matter, completely under Private Bar Guild rules. Now, underneath that first presumption, the presumption of public record, I have put, I, Richard Tyrrell of the family Tyrrell, the undersigned, formally challenge the presumption of public record, as it is by definition a presumption and has no standing or merit in presentable or material fact.
Yep.
Right, so that's the first one, in public record. So
Yep.
we've heard people saying before, people talk about common law in the street, that these courts are simply just a place of business, a commercial place of business where they steal money.
That's exactly what they are.
That's that first presumption.
That's exactly
They
what they
want to keep that information and everything that's happening in that court, they want to keep it
Yep.
in the Bar Guild, their
Private.
own wee private group.
Private.
So they want to steal people's money. So if you're paying a fine, going through a court and you get fined £100, say, for something, that's gone to the Bar Guild.
Yep.
That's gone to their wee gang.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
So that there is, it's quite a fact that they can just overrule you like that. And where's your rights there, Murray?
You're waiving them, Richie, because you're unwittingly, right, and you're unaware that you're agreeing to this. So this is where they've got you, because unwittingly you're agreeing, and that's where it's contract law, where if you were aware, you would simply rebut it and reject it and no consent to it. But people are not aware of what's happening here, and that's why it is absolute trickery and illusion, where you're tricked into agreeing to something that becomes a law, which the colourings of law are no laws.
Yep.
They require the consent of the agreeance or the contract before they then stand as law. So once again, I find it absolutely imperative to point out the facts of the matter, that is absolute trickery
Aye.
at the
It's,
highest order. There's no transparency there, is there?
It's just criminal, that's what it is.
Well, it is.
It's criminal. So the second presumption of public service is that all members of the private bar guild, remember this, the private bar guild, it's important that people remember.
Yep.
Remember who they are, right? So the presumption of public service is that all members of the private bar guild who have all sworn a solemn, secret, absolute oath to their guild then act as public agents for the government or public officials by making additional oaths of public office that openly and deliberately contradict their private and superior oaths to their own guild, unless openly rebuked and rejected. The claim stands that these private bar guild members are legitimate public servants and therefore trustees under the public oath. And my challenge is, I, Richard of the family Tyrrell, the undersigned, formally challenge the presumption of public service as it is by definition a presumption and has no standing or material standing or merit in presentable or material fact. Right, so this is what you've just spoke about there. They swear an oath to act as public servants.
Yes.
But they've superseded that oath by swearing another oath.
Secret
to
oath.
A secret oath to the private bar guild. It's no secret anymore because we're telling everybody this.
Absolutely.
Right,
These people are criminals.
Aye. So it's not a secret anymore. So they've sworn that oath. That supersedes a public oath. Remember, these people get paid by the public's purse.
And remember that these people are supposed to be impartial where they're acting in a capacity as a judge. So therefore they should not have any conflict of interest. Now, with them swearing that secret bar guild oath, they are out and out looking to make money for the Crown Corporation.
Excuse me a minute, Murray, I'm looking through this folder, and you know the reason why I'm looking through it? Because I've actually got the judge's oath there.
You got it there, aye.
I've got it
That'd
there.
That'd be handy just to recite that, Richie.
Aye.
You know, we can maybe revisit that further down the line, because the 12 presumptions is a bit of work, Rich.
There's a lot to it.
There's a lot to it, and it takes a wee bit of time to work your way through them, you know.
Aye. So basically, the presumption of public service is they're no acting as public servants. They've sworn a secret oath over and above their own oath to act as a public servant, and now they're acting in a private and superior position, if you like.
Bounty hunters for the Crown Corporation.
The bar guild, aye. So that's something that's got to be rebutted.
Yep.
So the presumption of public oath is that all members of the private bar guild acting in the capacity of public officials who have sworn a solemn public oath remain bound by that oath, and therefore bound to serve honestly, impartially and fairly as dictated by their oath. Unless openly challenged and demanded, the presumption stands that the private bar guild members have functioned under their public oath in contradiction to their guild oath. If challenged, such individuals must recuse themselves as having a conflict of interest and cannot possibly stand under the public oath. Right, so that word recuse, it's not a word that you'll come across very often, but it actually means that you need to stand down for that position.
Because you're not fit for purpose because you've got a conflict of interest. It's criminal.
Aye, it's
out and out criminal. Trickery and criminal.
But why is it?
Let's call it exactly what it is, Reggie, in layman's terms.
But why is it people have gone into court? Because there's men went into court, right? And they've presented these. I know a man that's went into court and presented these. The same man I get these 12 presumptions of law off originally. I just changed them a bit to suit myself, obviously. But he's put them into court and still ignored them.
Yes.
And that's the criminality within that bar guild.
Because it's mob rule, Richie.
Aye. And as a matter of fact, they actually took him away, locked him up for the night. And it's just, the criminality is unbelievable. So, this is what they don't want you doing. They don't want you standing up for yourself under common law. Because that's your bar guild rules gone. The
right
bar
out the water. The trickery's done. Yeah. But that's how bad it is, Richie. That's how criminal these people are. Because they are the very people that are supposed to be upholding the law and judging on the law when they're actually performing trickery and magic to steal money off the people. And that's that in layman's terms.
Yep.
1,000,000%, you know.
Yep. So the next one is a presumption of immunity, right?
Yep.
People need to listen to this because it's just devastating when you read this. Absolutely shocking, right? The presumption of immunity is that key members of the Private Bar Guild, in the capacity of public officials acting as judge, prosecutor or magistrate, who have sworn a solemn public oath in good faith, are immune from personal claims and injury and liability, unless openly challenged, and their oath demands. The presumption stands that the member of the Private Bar Guild, as public trustees, acting as judge, prosecutor and magistrates, are immune from any personal accountability for their actions. That's an open chequebook for a judge, a prosecutor, a magistrate, even maybe even lawyers and PF. That's an open chequebook for them to do what they want, and nothing will happen to them.
Yeah.
See, the last time I seen something like this,
Yeah.
it was the vaccine. It was the jab companies that were immune to getting sued.
Yeah.
And we
Escaping
know-
liability.
Try to escape liability. Why are these people trying to escape liability, and why are they putting it like that? So again, the undersigned formally challenge the presumption of immunity,
Yeah.
as it is by definition a presumption and has no standing or merit in presentable or material fact. And that's basically all you need to do is rebut it in that manner.
Yep. But how can people rebut things, right, when they're not aware it's actually the trickery's going on? This is why we're doing what we're doing,
This
to
is
give
why
the
we're
people
doing what we're doing.
information.
But, you know, see, instead of getting stuff at school, but, you know, some of the lessons you get at school that really just you don't use in life,
Yeah.
why don't we get taught common law?
Because they've used it against us to steal our money.
Correct.
Because they're criminals and they're ignoring the law. And this is why it's important that we're taking this time to do this and spell it out to people in layman's terms so that they can see exactly what's going on. It's almost unbelievable that this practice is going on.
Yep.
But the reason this practice has been allowed to happen, Richie, is because, I say again, we weren't taught it.
It's our ignorance.
And that's why the legal system, the legal society call the masses paupers, imbeciles and lunatics. And that's not been derogatory, because that's what they call the masses, because we're no fit for purpose, in their view, to present ourselves in court, because we're ignorant, we're like I say, we're paupers, lunatics and imbeciles and stuff like that. That's what they actually cause.
Yep.
And it's not a derogatory name for us, that's how they see us.
Aye, that's what they think is.
But the education system has let us down, but they haven't let us down.
Very
They've
badly.
tricked us into, you know, a situation like this, but no teaching us this in the first place. So what chance have you got? Right for the off,
Well, I mean,
for your
see,
education.
when you read these 12 presumptions of law, it's something that's very negative, right?
Yeah.
It is very negative. But the positive spin you're putting on it is you can rebut these. You can challenge them and
Yep.
rebut them.
Yep.
So that's you putting the ball back in their court.
Yep.
No, they're saying, well, if this guy's coming to court to be getting heard, a hearing under...
Private to private, aye.
Well, if it's going to be a hearing under Acts and statutes,
Yep.
then after rebutting these, there is no hearing, there is no case.
Well, you're required to bond for the public record for a start.
Of course you do.
That comes with knowledge. When you learn more about this type of stuff, you know what to say at the right times.
Yep.
If you ask for this to bond for, you require it to bond for the public record.
Yep.
They can then administer a private corporation to private corporation that they deem you as a private corporation to corporation business hearing or meeting.
Aye.
They're doing business, they're doing commerce,
Aye.
but you just don't know what they're doing.
Aye. But putting this stuff out there, I think it's vital for people to understand this.
Yep. Yep.
Or comprehend it.
Yep.
The next one, 5, the presumption of summons, is that by custom, a summons, unrebutted, stands, and therefore one who attends court is presumed to accept the position, defendant, juror or witness. In jurisdiction of the court, attendance to court is usually invitation by summons.
Yep.
Unless the summons is rejected and returned with a copy of the rejection filed prior to choosing to visit or attend, jurisdiction and position as the accused, and the existence of guilt stands. Right? So basically the first thing here, the summons, is it's nothing more than an invitation to appear at a hearing of the Private Bar Guild.
And no matter what you plea, you're guilty. And there's the trickery again.
So again, so it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter what you plea.
And the thing is, it's not just the position of defendant, it's also juror and witness. Do you know what I mean? So just remember that a summons is nothing more than an invitation. However, you've got to file to reject it.
Documents are important here.
And if it was a case that somebody had to go to court as a witness or a juror and you didn't want to go, then you would need a copy of the 12 presumptions of law, because you would need to rebut the summons, and that would need to be on it.
It's got to be done officially. Can it be done by word of mouth, because in law it's classed as hearsay. So you've got to have your paperwork done so that you've got proof of claim. You know.
So another thing here is obviously I, Richard of Family Tyrrell, the undersigned, firmly challenge the presumption of summons, as it is by definition a presumption and has no standing on merit and presentable or material fact. So again, that's me. Challenge that as well. The next one is custody, right? So basically, folks,
this is you being a thing. They see as a thing.
This is you being a thing. This is you being. What would you call it? In the maritime law, you would call it goods, and your damaged goods, and they would just put you away in the hold. In other words, if they want to put you in the jail, they'll do it, and there's nothing.
Well, they see you getting salvaged.
That's what it is.
Their property.
So the presumption of custody is that by custom, a summons or warrant for arrest unrebutted stands, and therefore one who attends court is presumed to be a thing, and therefore liable to be detained in custody by custodians. Custodians may only lawfully hold custody of property and things, not flesh and blood, soul possessing beings. That's men and women. Unless this presumption is openly challenged by rejection and summons and or at court, the presumption stands, you are a thing and property, and therefore lawfully able to be kept in custody by custodians. That is incredible. That's incredible. So when you get in there, you need these 12 presumptions of law to go into that court. If you're going to self-represent, you need to get in there, because they're going to just put you away.
Do what they like with you.
Because they just see you as a thing. They see you as
property,
material. You're nothing more than material fact to them. And that's the presumption of custody. That's frightening. That's frightening. That any man or woman could be taken off the street for any reason, and that could happen to them.
And let's bear in mind again, right from the beginning of this, agreeing. You're actually agreeing. You're agreeing. They're not just doing what they like. You've unwittingly agreed to this. And that's why it cannot happen. And that's where the trickery and illusion comes in. So they're not just doing what they like. You're actually agreeing to it, and you don't know you're agreeing to it. So that's what that's your trickery right there.
So this is interesting as well. The last one there was very, very important, because that's the one that puts you in a cell for the night. So that must be rebutted and challenged. But the presumption of Court of Guardians is the presumption that as you may be listed as a resident of a ward of a local government area and have listed in your passport the letter P, that's P for Papa, or P for Pauper. You are a pauper, and therefore under the guardian's power of the government and its agents as a general guardian and general executor of the matter, or in commas a trust.
Executor.
Yes. Before the court, the presumption stands, and you are by default a pauper and lunatic,
Yep.
And therefore must obey the rules of the clerk, of the guardian, or the clerk of the court or magistrate's court. You must obey, right?
Pauper and lunatic, Richie, there we touched on it.
That's the words in this 12.
That's why I
Pauper
said.
and a lunatic.
That's what I said to you.
Are these people?
That's why
Who
I
do they
said.
think you are?
That's what I said, that they're not saying it by derogatory terms.
No.
That is how they see you.
Yeah.
A lunatic and a pauper. Can I just touch on that before you go any further? Because I'll
Please
forget
do.
It's an age thing.
Yep. All right. Is that
Pauper.
that age thing come back again?
Well, we like to make these things light-hearted because we realise it can be heavy going again.
That's why we record them, because we might forget about it.
It can be
next week.
heavy going, especially for people that are not used to looking at this type of thing, right? So, pauper,
Yes.
like I touched on, the reason they see you as a pauper is because you've got nothing.
Aye.
And why you've got nothing is like what this Klaus Schwab guy's going on about with your Great Reset,
Yes.
Agenda 21. He's wanting you to own nothing and be happy. You already own nothing in this system.
Mm-hmm.
You own nothing because through the birth certificate, the fraud, the criminal conversion, the name in the birth certificate, they claim you as their property.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, you're owned. So they're actually enacting slavery.
Mm-hmm.
But you own nothing because everything you think you own, including your children,
Yep.
they own.
They own.
Through that
They
criminal
presume-
conversion in your
They
name.
presume they own.
Yes.
Aye. It's all.
So we're not just throwing
Bus-
words about here,
bus-
Richie.
no,
Paupers and
this is-
lunatics.
aye.
What's a lunatic? Somebody that hasn't a clue.
I don't know.
There's no idea.
To be honest, I'd need to look up the definition.
Definition of the
To
lunatic.
make sure I get it right, because
Aye.
what I think a lunatic is, probably isn't
Somebody
what it
of-
is. I'll tell
Aye.
you something else I've got, by the way, and see every time I pick these up and I look at them, and
Mm-hmm.
anything I do whatsoever with common law, and bear in mind, common law is just for the common man and woman, so you can use just normal English,
Mm-hmm.
right? But see, when I'm writing things or I'm reading something and I come across it or something like that, I always check the definition of each individual
make sure
word.
it's
If it's a
correct,
word I've
aye.
not came across
Yep.
or I don't understand,
Yep.
I don't fully comprehend the word,
Yep.
always check it. I'll
Yep.
check it in the Oxford Dictionary, the English Dictionary, and I also check it in Black Laws, because
Yep.
I've got a copy, a PDF of Black Laws Dictionary.
To see if it
Incidentally,
coincides.
if anybody wants a copy of it, then I'll be happy to send you a copy of it.
Mm-hmm.
We've got an email address on our group, People Support the People, and just send us an email on that and I'll get a copy of it sent to you. It's a Black Laws Dictionary, it's a PDF, and anybody can have it if he's wanting a copy of it. So you can learn some of this stuff.
Yep. So as you say, Richie, it's important that you're dealing with facts, and it's important to research
Yep.
and to confirm and verify everything that you say.
Aye. Oh, you need it needs to
It
be
needs to be correct.
It needs to be spot
On
on.
point, aye.
100%. That was a Court of Guardians.
Yep.
The presumption, this is eighth presumption, the presumption of Court of Trustees is that members of the Private Bar Guild presume you accept the office of trustee as a public servant and government employee just by attending a Roman court. As such, courts are always for public trustees by the rule of the Guild and the Roman system, unless this presumption is openly challenged to state you are merely visited by invitation to clear up the matter and you are not a government employee or public trustee.
Yep.
In this instance, the presumption stands, as is assured, as one of the most significant reasons to claim jurisdiction simply because you appear. And that's true.
Yeah.
But a lot of people say you don't appear. You don't appear under them. You go there and you tell them you're there by invitation.
Yep.
And
To
you
clear
let
this
them know
matter.
just to clear up a matter,
Yep.
which is a mistake.
You're not there for what they're presuming you're there for.
Yep.
And you make that crystal clear for the
Yep.
off.
Right. It says here they accept that you're an officer trustee and you're a public servant or a government employee. They're just
Yep.
assuming and presuming that, again, government employee being
Yep.
you're owned by the government,
Yep.
effectively.
So that's what they want you to be that, and that's why they presume you to be that, because they just want to administrate commerce.
Yep. Again, I, Richard, the undersigned, formally challenge the presumption of Court of Trustees as it is by definition a presumption and has no standing on material presentable merit or presentable or material fact. Okay, number 9, the presumption of government acting in two roles as executor and beneficiary. This is interesting.
That's an interesting
Executor
one, aye.
of beneficiary of what? Right, so that just makes you ask that question. Okay, so the presumption of government acting in two roles as executor and beneficiary is that for the matter in hand, the Private Bar Guild appoints a judge, magistrate in the capacity of executor, while the prosecutor acts in the capacity of beneficiary, and the trust for the current matter. If the accused does seek to assert their right as executor and beneficiary over their body, their mind and soul, they are acting as an executor de son tort,
Yep.
or a false executor.
Yep.
Again, de son tort is something I had to look up as well, and it's worthwhile people just looking it up to find out exactly what it means. The false executor challenging the rightful judge as the executor. All right. Therefore, the judge magistrate assumes the role of true executor and has the right to have you arrested, detained, fined, or forced into a psychiatric evaluation. I'm going to read that again. Therefore, the judge or magistrate assumes the role of true executor and has the right to have you arrested, detained, fined, and forced into a psychiatric evaluation. That's shocking. Unless the presumption is openly challenged to demonstrate you are both a true general guardian and general executor of the matter or the trust, before the court, questioning and challenging whether the judge or magistrate is seeking to act as executor de son tort, the presumption stands and you are, by default, the trustee, therefore must obey the rules of the executor, i.e. the judge or the magistrate. Or you are the executor de son tort, and the judge or magistrate of the Private Bar Guild may seek to assist the bailiffs or sheriff to assert their false claim against you. That's quite a tricky one. De son tort means to act in an unlawful manner, right? So
That's exactly what they're doing.
aye, so it's to make a claim over something in an unlawful manner, which isn't quite rightly yours.
Yeah. But there's an important aspect to that, Richie, just to simplify it for the viewers and the people.
Yep.
It's quite simple. The remedies lies within. So they're going by the presumption of this to allow it to happen.
Yep.
So you simply don't allow it to happen.
Yep.
So you don't agree and you don't consent to it, and you nip it in the bud by rebutting. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Where you make it clear that who's who. You know what I mean?
Yep. I'm just I'm looking at this just now because there was something there that
If you don't rebut
caught
it,
my eye. There it's there, right? The beneficiary over their body, mind and soul. So basically what the court is doing is saying that if you don't rebut this, we're taking full charge of your body, your mind
Yep.
and your soul,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
There's only one man or woman who owns your soul, and that's your creator. They gave you, all right? So I don't want to get into the God thing because it puts a lot of people off, or Buddha or whatever. It puts a lot of people off, but the facts are everybody's got a soul.
And
apart from these people in the legal system, because
Yep.
what they're doing is just criminal and it's evil.
It's beyond unbelievable, Richard, for the simple fact that going by a presumption right now in law, a presumption, again, as we spoke about at the beginning, means you're presuming what is not a fact.
Yep.
In law, we deal with facts. So how come
It's only
they're
a fact
dealing
if
with...
the two of us agree it's a fact.
Right.
Because then we'll
Right.
make it a fact.
So we make it that fact that they require for to then carry on with the presumptions.
Yep.
So they're making, where, again, as I say, in law, we deal with facts.
Yes.
But they go with the presumptions, and then us unwittingly no rebutting the presumption, it ends up being a fact in law because
Yes.
we didn't rebut it, because we didn't know any better.
Yep.
And there's your trickery right there again.
Yep.
The law goes by fact, but they're using a presumption and trickery into turning something into a fact because it's went unrebutted.
Yep.
It's almost,
That's why you'll hear the saying that silence is consent.
consent, tacit agreement.
And this goes back to
Tacit
removing
agreement.
consent again.
Yep.
Tacit agreement, silence is consent, and people say, well, you don't need to remove consent because I never gave consent in the first place.
No, you do.
There's
because the
assumptions
trickery,
and the presumption
yes,
is always going to
the
be
trickery, the legalese, dog Latin language
through the colours
itself,
of law.
through the colouring of law. And it's when you break it down like that and define it, you know, the penny drops once again how unbelievable this whole thing is. But then again, Richie, we have confirmed and verified that these people in these secret societies that are all members of the Bar Guild rules and the legal societies, the guys at the top of the tree are no cod grand wizards for no reason.
No, I know.
They're no cod grand wizards for no reason.
That's true.
Because what they're doing is they're spinning illusion and using trickery and casting spells. And there it is, right there in front of us.
What actually gets me here is when they say that they've got the right over your body, fair enough, but your mind and your soul, your soul specifically.
On a presumption that's unrebutted.
That's just pure evil.
So if me and you try and get in and presume that something belongs to us, folk wouldn't be very fucking long with us, would they?
No.
That's
No,
my...
they wouldn't belong in saying, hold on a minute.
You got your
that's
neighbours
no
and saying, I
yours.
presume that motor's mine. I'm taking...
You going for a motor? I was just thinking of a telly or something.
Telly or something.
No, something that wasn't as expensive. Aye, okay. But no, you've got to keep it light-hearted because this stuff is, we're not putting this stuff over to make it seem like bad news. Everything's bad news and negative. It's positive, because once you learn this, folks,
you can do something about this.
This is really positive.
You can do something about it. You can challenge it anyway.
Yes. That was executor and beneficiary, wasn't it? The presumption of agent and agency. Again, there's always these titles in the legal system.
Yeah, escape liability.
When men and women
Acting
don't want
capacity is the title.
So the acting capacity is the title. But this is, I think it's getting explained quite reasonably well here. Hopefully people do pick up on it. When the video goes out, I'm sure if people aren't quite sure or don't understand what we're saying, then they will ask questions. I hope you do anyway. The presumption of agent and agency is the presumption that under contract law you have expressed and granted authority to the judge and magistrate through the statement of such words as recognise, understand or comprehend, and therefore agree to be bound to a contract. Therefore, unless all presumptions of agent appointment are rebutted through the use of such formal rejections as I do not recognise you, to remove all implied or expressed appointments of the judge, prosecutor or clerk as agents, the presumption stands and you agree to be contractually bound to perform at the direction of the judge or magistrate. What's your thoughts on that, Murray? Agent and agency. Again, so effectively, when you go, I've asked you a question, mate, I'm going to let you answer.
Again, Richie, we know that when men and women act in capacity as a title, they always escape liability, and that's why you've got to go after people in their private capacity under full liability, under the charge of perjury. But agent, so agent of the Crown, agent of the Crown Corporation, agent of the Bar Guild. It's just another form of trickery where they can't be held liable or responsible for anything. It's an escape route, isn't it? So you're committing crime, but there's a back alley out it.
Let me expand on that. It's not just that. You've got police constables who are acting as officers. That's an agent. You've got people who work in the council tax office who are called a financial team, but they're all agents. Agents. In the legal system, but they're actually working in their own private capacity under their own full personal liability. So they actually, here's one, somebody that works in the office of a court, a sheriff court, they send a letter out to me, all block capital names, bang, they've just committed a crime against me. They've just committed a crime against me. So And people don't understand that. These people work in court offices and they send these letters out, all block capital letters.
But here's the thing, Richie. You've done your homework, you've done your research, and you comprehend what's actually happening here. And you can see right through the trickery and illusion. Joe Bloggs and the general public, they send out that letter to Joe Bloggs with the all capital name, and he responds to it. Therefore, he's agreeing to it right away. It's shoot in. Shoot in for the magic, the trickery, illusion and magic of the system. Shoot in, because they don't know any better. Well, so you think that's you, and you respond to it. You've agreed to all these things that wouldn't normally stand. Therefore, it's, as I say again, it's shoot in.
I mean,
easy.
This folder, believe it or not, it's quite a heavy folder. Quite a bit of reading in it. But actually, most of what's in that folder are all formal challenges. They're notices of intent to challenge the authority of police constables, court managers, even lawyers, people for the evaluation boards and things like that. It's all in here. Do you know what I mean? It's all there. I've got about 3 police constables there. I've got all sorts in the system.
Various from all over.
CEOs of East Renfrewshire Council. They're all there. They're all challenged.
But what we require, Richie, and this is why it's important that more and more people buy into the truth, how things actually work. Because backed by the power of the people that have got the knowledge and understand the truth of what's going on, we can take this whole system apart. But it can only be done by the power of the people. There's no use with only a minority of people that's got this information and challenge it, because for where I'm coming from, what I've seen in the past is we're challenging, but these people are criminals and they choose to ignore the law. Well, we want to turn this quality information, which is truth and fact, we want to turn it into, this is about results. This is all about getting results. Now, we want to turn this about, so by backed by the power of the people that comprehend that they've been abused and been tricked and deceived, and it's fraudulent from start to finish. Once we get that awareness out there, and the majority of people click onto it, we can then go about taking the whole thing out altogether.
This is the thing. There's loads of common law men and women throughout, I've got to say throughout the whole UK, throughout the whole world. And we're all working in our own wee areas, right?
Pockets of resistance.
Yes. But we're wakening more and more people up. And the likes of this, the amount of people who see this video when it goes out, who didn't know about the 12 presumptions of law, these people are going to go, these 2 guys, they're kidding us on, aren't they? I'm going to go and look at the 12 presumptions of law. And they're going to download it. And a matter of fact, I'll do a document that doesn't have any names on it.
Put a link up, Richie, so that people can get in.
I'll put a document up on my Facebook page on people supporting the people. And people can actually go and download it as a PDF. I'll see if I can do it as a Word document. If they can download it as a Word document and be able to edit it themselves and do their own presumptions of law. You know, the 12 presumptions of law and rebut things.
Rebut them, do their own affidavits.
Be able to do everything
when
like
it comes about.
It helps protect themselves. I mean, if you're prepared just now for this sort of stuff, it means you're no running at the last minute trying to get things done. Okay. Number 11. The presumption of incompetence is the presumption that you are at least ignorant of the law, therefore incompetent to present yourself and argue properly. Therefore, the judge or magistrate, as executor, has the right to have you arrested, detained, fined and forced into a psychiatric evaluation. Unless this presumption is openly challenged to the fact that you know your position as executor and beneficiary and actively rebuke and object to any contrary presumptions, then it stands by the time of pleading that you are incompetent. Then the judge or magistrate can do what they need to keep you obedient. That's powerful
obedient,
words. That's powerful words. And this is why they like lawyers, because lawyers will say to you, well, this is what we're going to, you could either get 6 months or 500 hours community service or whatever, right? And you're thinking, oh, I go home every night with a tag and get... But
I'm sorry, Mr. Lawyer Liar, Hura Babylon, but I'm going to settle for...
I love that.
I'm going to settle for none of the above. They're getting nothing from me. And this is the reason why. because I'm rebutting every single part of that because it's all lies and deceit. Mr. Lawyer, liar, who of Babylon.
But that's what they are.
Bounty hunters.
That's what they are.
Abusing the people.
Yes.
They're getting rewarded. They're taking your money. They're stealing your money for the Crown Corporation, and they're getting the reward for doing it.
They're getting their wee cut.
That's what.
I hope their reward's good, because see when this comes to light,
Judgment Day is coming.
Judgment Day is coming, and they'll not be able to hold their head up in the street because people will be going.
Well,
but like the olden days where they just threw rotten tomatoes at people.
Well, Richie, let's just touch on when we were doing it at Borehead. Let's tell that wee quick story.
We've got one more.
Just let's tell this story because I want to take you to.
Let's say this first,
right,
and then we'll have the story.
Right, because this confirms what we're saying. True. You couldn't get a better example, and you've seen it yourself first hand, right? So we'll save this for. That's a wee Brucey bonus for the just to finish up with. So we'll get you so excited with this, and this is. We can both swear that is an absolute truth and fact,
that's a fact.
Verified because the two were there.
We'll do this last one. So that was the presumption of incompetence. So it's good to know that the courts, lawyers and that whole system think that you're incompetent enough that you can't,
you're a pauper anyway.
Stand up for yourself. You're
and
a
an
pauper
imbecile
and you don't know the law.
A lunatic.
So this is what these people actually think of you. They just think you're
lovely
scumbags.
Lovely words, imbecile, pauper and lunatic, yeah?
Aye. Well, the last bit of that one of incompetence was to keep you obedient. And that's shocking.
Would it not be nice to say to these people that want to come and offer their services to the ignorant when they think you don't know any better and you just turn around and say to them, I'm not a lunatic, an imbecile, a pauper now when you're coming here canvassing for, soliciting for business after me.
Aye, that's right.
Mr. Pauper, imbecile and lunatic here.
Okay, the presumption of guilt, number 12. Right, the presumption of guilt is the presumption that as it is presumed to be a private business meeting of the Bar Guild, this is incredible, you are guilty whether you plead guilty, do not plead, or plead not guilty. Therefore, unless you either have previously prepared an affidavit of truth and a motion to dismiss with extreme prejudice into the public record or call a demurrer, then the presumption is you are guilty and the private bar guild can hold you until a bond is prepared
Bail,
to guarantee the amount the guild wants to profit from you. Wow. Wow.
Does that not typify the whole lot?
I was kind of laughing when I was reading that there, right, because I knew it was coming. And I just thought, I can't believe I'm reading this out.
That just typifies the whole 12 presumptions, doesn't it? That last one just...
Obviously, at the end of that, if I, Richard of the family Tyrrell, the undersigned, formally challenge the presumption of guilt, because I'm not going to let that one go.
Here.
Because it's not got any merit in presentable or material fact. Right, so that's the 12 presumptions of law. Just to finish off, I formally challenge all 12 presumptions of law, as I have formally challenged all the 12 presumptions of law. Then the presumption of law formally has no substance in material fact. I will recognise the rule of law when and only when there is a material evidence of that assumed rule of law has some material evidence of substance in presentable material fact. Until then, the search for the rule of law that has some credibility in material fact continues. Without ill will or vexation in it. I've put my name there, Richard of the family Tyrrell, and I would sign it. And usually the last... just put Richard of the family Tyrrell line right through my name. Just so they know that, you know, I'm standing in my own private capacity and it's nothing to do with anything in the legal system. So that's the 12 presumptions.
No trickery involved whatsoever.
So, folks, everything that we've said here with these 12 presumptions of law are fact. Okay?
That's what they use against you.
That's what they use against you in court. That's what they don't tell you. That's what you should be putting in and going into court or going into one of these administrative places of business. You should be getting in there and
challenging it for what it is.
These. And if you challenge them, then there is no case. There is no case to answer. All right. Now, Murray and myself were handing out some of the light newspapers doing a wee bit of outreach, and we're just speaking to each other, just individuals who were just catching one person or one man or woman and having a chat with them. And we were just having a discussion with them about things that are going on in general, handing out a light newspaper. And we went to Barhead, my hometown,
Yep.
and we met this woman who says, "Oh, that's really interesting."
Seen her badges, her ID badge, and
She
asked
says,
what they were
"What is
about,
that?
and what's
It's
the
common
paper.
law." My sister used to have been into the law. I'll let you continue with the story, Murray.
Aye, so the old dear was getting out the passenger side when I was speaking to her daughter, and I had introduced myself and Richard with her ID badge, the common law court ID badges, told her what we're all about. We're all about truth and stuff, and this publication is one of the only publications that prepared to tell the truth about current affairs and stuff, you know, the whole COVID scam and everything else. And she says, "Oh, my sister here is just getting out of the car here." She was an old dear.
No, she was getting in the car.
She was just getting into it, and she says,
getting in the car.
"Oh, she'll be very interested in this. She was a magistrate, so she was a magistrate all days." And I just, I looked at Rich and went, "Whoa, we've got a beauty. Let's put this to the test." I said to Richard, "Watch this, mate. Wait till you see this. Watch for the reaction coming." Now, I never told Richard what I was going to say. So I approached the old dear and I introduced myself. And I'm saying, "Your daughter's telling me, or your sister's telling me here about you were a magistrate all your days." And I said, "So you know exactly what I'm talking about. You have sworn the secret bar guild rules oath." And she just looked at me and went shock white, started shaking, and couldn't get away from me quickly enough, saying, "I was only a young girl at the time, I didn't know any," making all the excuses under this. I've never seen a reaction like that in all my life.
The thing is, she knows what she's done.
She knows exactly.
Knew she's old. She's older.
Stealing
She
money
knows
off the people.
she knows what
people
she's
by
done.
trickery and illusion.
She couldn't get in that
People
car quick
that's-
enough. Murray. And
You
the
see that
reason she
yourself.
couldn't get in the car quick enough is because she knows that was shame in her face.
That was shaming her. An old woman like that would like to think that she's a do-gooder all days, but she knew. She swore that secret, and she was stealing money off of people that never had. Other days, people that's no got much.
Sold her soul.
Absolutely.
If you ask me,
Stealing
sold
the general public's money with trickery and illusion and magic.
But it just shows you, see, once you know about this stuff and you challenge people,
Aye.
regardless to whether they're still part of it or no,
I'll
then
never-
it's frightening. It's an eye opener. We've just showed you the 12 presumptions of law. Murray's told you this story. I can put my hand in my heart and say that's a fact.
You looked at me that day, Richie, and said, because you didn't know what I was going to say to her.
Oh, it's
You looked at...
normally I surprise you with some things.
We'll no go there with that one.
I've
But
done it on 2 occasions. I've surprised you and you've went, "What's happening here?"
Aye.
But
So
you got me that day.
You looked at me that day and went, "I've never seen MD change. The demeanour just
switch.
turned like that.
Switch. Aye.
The fear."
She couldn't get in.
Choke-
For a woman who could hardly move.
Aye.
As soon as you said that, you've sworn that secret. "I was only a girl. I was only a girl." Bang! She was right in that car. And I was like, "Let's go. Let's
So
go."
see that alone, Richie, that alone, what we're telling the people, right? That alone is confirmation that what we're presenting to here is fact and truth.
The thing is, once you know about common law and you know about some of the criminality, and you don't even need to know about the common law, you just need to know about criminality in the system, then once you know somebody hot's in the system, the first thing you want to do is get an audience with them and ask some questions.
Yep.
And that was an opportunity. That was a good opportunity.
Oh,
You took it that day
aye.
to ask the questions, and
Yep.
just with a simple reaction, it was just, wow, she knows she's guilty.
Aye.
She knows she's done wrong.
Unbelievable.
Aye, she's struggling now to just have a conversation about it.
Aye.
It's very frightening. Right, okay, I think it's about time to finish up the video. It's been quite a long one.
Aye.
Appreciate you. Thanks very much for coming along, watching the video. 12 presumptions of law. I'm going to make up an open Word document of this with no names in it or anything like that, and you can maybe, I'll put it online and you can maybe download it, and you can fill it in and do your own presumptions of law. Just make sure that you read over them, you understand, fully comprehend what the 12 presumptions of law are and why you need them.
Yep. And how they use them against you.
And how they, more importantly, how they use them against you as well.
Yep.
We've got other stuff that we've spoke about throughout this video, like the judge's oath and things like that. Maybe do a wee video on that independently, about the different oaths that they swear. Just to give you an idea, which will help follow up on this.
A wee follow up
because
I think that the information that we've provided today, Richie, is plentiful for MD. You know what I mean? In MD's language, that's quite a lot to divulge and digest. You know what I mean?
So big thanks to everybody once again for your support. For everybody who is a member of People Supporting the People, we really appreciate your input into everything you do on the Facebook page. We appreciate your support on YouTube, and we hope to see you again soon. Murray, would you like to say it?
As I say, I would just like people to pay attention and really start tuning in, because this information is really valuable. You know, you can use it to protect yourself against the tyranny. And also, I would like to sort of ask people to buy in and tune into the Light newspaper as well, because they're great at covering all the different topics of the scams and the Agenda 21, the Great Reset.
It's a good paper.
The quality information there that will basically tell you the truth. Instead of people sitting watching that news, the propagandised news, where you're getting lied to right, left and centre, I would suggest that people start reading the Light newspaper. It's a fantastic publication, as I say, and it's all about telling you the truth of what's going on, opposed to the propagandised news you get in Sky News and STV and BBC and them all, you know.
Okay.
So,
once again, folks, thanks very much. Bye-bye.
Cheers, guys.